Namaste and welcome to all the viewers. So today we shall be reading this essay from Shankara Digvijayam, which is on the encounter with the fierce Bhairava. Rishi shall be reading and explaining the rest of its contents. Rishi, are you there?
Okay, so Rishi will come in, I think, few minutes. So before that, okay, he has come.
Yes, Rishi. You're muted. You can start with the introduction first.
Yeah, namaste. Okay. Namaste to all of the audience and dinner as well. So, on the blessed occasion of Kailasa Gamana of Ādi Śaṅkarācārya, tonight we will be experiencing one of the best episodes from his lifetime. It's from this work, a very famous work of Sri Madhava Vidyaranya Swami. In his Purvashrama, when he was known as Madhavacharya, it's called the Shankara Digvijayam. In it, so there is a background to it. So just like in Bhagavatam, in Srimad Bhagavatam, you have the central or the main skandha, which is called the Saptama Skandha. So in the Saptama Skandha or the 7th volume, you have the incident of Prahlada and Narasimha avatar, where Prahlada, the small kid, is saved by Bhagavan Narayana in the form of Narasimha Bhagavan. Similarly, in the case of Shankara Digvijayam, we have this incident, the Ugra Bhairava Vadham Sarga. It's the chapter 11, and this is called as the heart or the Hridaya Granthi of the Shankara Digvijayam. So tonight we will be experiencing the divineness within the story, and I guess let's begin then, shall we?
Yes, you can start reading the starting section.
Yeah, so before starting, let me repeat the traditional slokas which are remembered whenever Pada Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shankarupena Matchittam Pankikritamabhodhyaya Kinkariyasya Samaya Shankaracharyamashreye Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashyakrito Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. So with this, we will be starting this amazing episode, the Hridaya Granthi, Ugra Bhairava Vadham Sarga, the 11th chapter. So let's move on to the Sanskrit portion first. Let's start with that, and then we can move maybe with the English portion after that.
Yes.
It's possible for.
Do I need to zoom in more or is it enough?
No. It's okay. I think the audience will be able to see this very well.
Okay.
Atha ekadasha, yes. So atha ekadasha sargaha Ugra Bhairava Vadham. Tatra ekadachhadita naija doshaha Paulastavat kalpita sadhuveshaha Nirmanamayam sthitakarya sheshaha Kapalika kaschidhanalpadoshaha. Very famous Sanskrit shloka, this first instance. So this first shloka actually, it contains a very important lesson as well, or a nyaya as it's called in traditional Sanskrit thought. If you can go to the English portion, please. So
Yes.
when the moderator is going there, so just a bit of context beforehand. So this episode comes after Bhagavad Pada has defeated Mandana Mishra and his wife, Shri Ubhaya Bharati ji, both of them. And after that, he has taken sannyasa. And just after this incident, they have gone for Tirtha Yatra with all of the entourage of Sudhanva's, some of the Sudhanva's associates and Bhagavad Pada's main Shishyas, everyone, along with Sureshwaracharya, the new sannyasin. This episode happens in Srishailam, present day Telangana, I think. It's where Mallikarjuna, the second from the Dwadasha Lingam, Jyotirlingam, that's found over there. It's a very celebrated area. It's just near the Krishna River, if I'm not mistaken. Audience can fact check me over this. It's on the hilltop. Very famous place. It was also later on visited by Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Very important area, and there Śaṅkarācārya went and did his pravachana and his sadhana. So while being there, this incident happens. So let us read. One day, Shankara, the conqueror of all passions and the resort of even rishis who have conquered their lower self, was resting at a solitary spot after he had delivered his discourses on the Bhashya. A fierce and cruel-hearted Kapalika now approached him with evil intentions in the guise of an ascetic, even as Ravana did in times of old. So this line, a fierce and cruel Kapalika now approached him with evil intentions. That's the first line. Tatraikadachadita naija doshaha paulastavat kalpita sadhuveshaha. So to hide your evil intentions, people generally take the garb of purity, just as Ravana, to hide his evil intentions, took the garb of a sadhu or rishi. So I guess this is something which is even seen today as well, many a times, and audience will relate with it a lot. In this case, it was a Kapalika who dressed himself up in very innocuous manner and went to meet Bhagavad Pada. Kapalika, as far as I know, Kapalikas were Shaivas, but different brand of Shaivas who were more into Ugra Tapasya and Kailasha Gamana. They were very interested in that, and also into inappropriate kinds of upasana, which were not sanctioned by Shastras normally. They were into all of those. So this was a very controversial sect which was present in India at that time, and it was in vogue really in India. So Bhagavad Pada had to tackle with them, and we'll get the story much more in detail in this. Delighted with the thought that his long-awaited opportunity had now dawned, he approached the Acharya and curtly told him what he wanted. He said, "Having heard much about your life and about your great qualities like omniscience, mercy, goodness, etc., I have come here to see you in person. You are the universally respected teacher of non-dualism, who has overcome identification with the body. Cast away all infatuations and defeated every form of dualism in debate." So audience, by then Bhagavad Pada had actually made his mark in Indian subcontinent itself by defeating many kinds of philosophies, and especially the dualist ones. And also he was famous for his intense qualities which came from his sadhana. So those are the accolades which are being said above by the Kapalika. But also this was done as to satiate Shankara, Bhagavad-pada, and to, I guess, infiltrate the whole situation, because you cannot be asking for the things later on, which he will be doing at first, because that would be very controversial for him and he would not have got his wishes fulfilled. So, yeah, let's move on. You have assumed your body for the good of others. Your fame, even the Devas praise. With your merciful look, you remove the sufferings and anxieties of good men. And with your kind words, you grant whatever blessings you want, whatever blessings people want. You are the ocean of all virtues. You command the respect of the whole world. So it goes on and on. You are supremely liberal, one who bestows all you possess on others. Great men of such excellences generally grant to their suppliants whatever prayers they make. I can achieve a great object of mine through an all-knowing one like you and win the grace of my deity, namely Kapali or Shiva, sporting a skull in his hand. I performed austerities for 100 years in order to get a boon from Shiva, which would enable me to attain to Kailasa with this very physical body and enjoy the felicity of the heavenly region with this body itself. Lord Shiva, being propitiated, declared to me, your object will be fulfilled if you can perform a sacrifice, offering in fire the head of either a crowned king or in the alternative of an all-knowing person. It's funny over here because, as we know from any simple investigation of Hindu texts, you cannot be entering any of the Punya lokas with the body that you are possessing. You must shed that, and basically you must die, and after that you can have uh, another birth in that Punya loka. That's how it goes. But he wanted to bypass that, and it seems Mahadev too knew that he was trying to violate dharma over here. So he makes this condition that you can maybe enter Kailasa, but only if you could get sacrifice of either a king or a great scholar and an all-knowing person. So in the first case, it would have been very risky for the guy because he would have been dead, because no king would allow himself to be killed by a meager kapalik. After all, we know how they were seen in normal society. But an all-knowing person, maybe that's a different thing. So he tried this option out over here, as we shall see. So let's start. Fortunately, I have today come across an omniscient personage who lives only for the goods of others. The object of my quest is now obtained. If a king's head is not available, a sage's head is required for my right. Whatever one may do, it is impossible to get a king's head, as we know why. So my only hope lies in you. If you grant your head to me, you will attain to fame, and I to the fulfillment of my desire. You can easily do this, knowing fully as you do that this body is perishable. So these are the general arguments which he'll be giving, and for the audience, I will just ease it up. So later on, he will also give arguments and analogies such as that of Dadhichi. For the audience's sake, let me just relate that story. So Dadhichi, he's a very famous rishi in Rigveda, in some of the Veda shakhas. So Dadhichi was the one who sacrificed his life for producing the Vajra Yudha, which Indra needed to kill Vritrasura, To do that, there was a need of his backbone, of his bones actually. So Dasichi Maharshi had to sacrifice his life, and that's the analogy is being given over here as well to justify his argument that, okay, please give your head, then it will be good for me, as well as you will also attain fame of sacrificing for someone else's good. That's the case. And he also knew the Kapalik, the Ugra Bhairava, his name is. So he knew the fact that Bhagavad Pada was a sannyasin and one of the highest in the orders. And he had Parama Vairagya, or supreme detachment for his body. So till the time that he had a purpose with it, it was enough. But if he didn't see any purpose, then he would have left his body as usual. So that's the opportunity that's been taken advantage of by this Kapalika. If you could just go down a bit, Neil. Yeah, go down to the last area of the page. So he says, so I salute you. Be gracious enough to give me your head. So saying, the Kapalika prostrated himself before Shankara. Without thinking much about the pros and cons of this request, Shankara, who was full of mercy to suppliants, replied as follows: Gladly shall I give you my head. I do not find anything wrong in your request. Who that knows the body to be perishable will be reluctant to give it for the good of others? Time will destroy. If you could go. How much one may try to preserve it. So what greater glory and gain can there be for a man than his body perishing for the good of others? But I cannot give you the head publicly. I shall be at particular solitary spot in the state of samadhi. Come there and take off my head. I gift it to you. But if my disciples get any inkling of this arrangement, they will by all means obstruct it. For they look upon me as their savior. Just as one is reluctant to give up one's body, so also is one reluctant to allow a beloved person to be lost. So here is a catch. So Bhagavad Pada knows that he is doing adharma. But then to keep the fact that he is also merciful, he has told the Kapalika that he will fulfill his conditions. And he has also given the arguments that after all, it's only being good for others, and given it's perishable, so what's the use of this body at all? But he also gives a caveat in that, which could have been a clue for the Kapalika to not entertain this idea, but as is the case with all greedy persons, they don't get it. So he says that he will be in the state of samadhi in a cave, and that's the time then he should get in and take off Bhagavad Pada's head, chop off Bhagavad Pada's head. Sorry. But he also warns in that very statement that if my disciples come to know of it, then it will be grave danger for him. That was not said clearly, but it was implied. But as we shall see later on, Kapalika does not take into account. So, Ninar, I think we should move on to the Sanskrit text, Shloka 29. We shall go over there. Yeah. Yep, over here. Oh, the page before. This is the one. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, this is the one. Yeah. So we'll be starting from here. Tau samvidam vitanu namiti sampravishtau yogi jagama mudito nilayam manasvi Sri Shankaropi nijadhamani joshamasa prochena kinchidapi bhavamasau manogam Shuli tripundri puratovaloki kankalamala kritagatra bhushaha samrakta netro mudaghurnitaksho yogi yayau deshika vasabhumim sheshu shishteshu vidagdageshu snanadiकार्याय विविक्तभाजी श्रीदेशिकेन्द्रे तु सनन्दनाख्य भीत्या स्वदेहं व्यवधाय गूढे तं भैरवाकारमुदीक्ष्य देशिकस्त्युक्तं शरीरं व्यधित स्वयं मनः आत्मानमात्मान्युदयुक्तं यो जपन् समाहितात्मा करणानि संहरन् तं भैरवो लोकपूज्यं स्वसौख्यतुच्छित्कृत देवराज्यं योगीशमासादित निर्विकल्पं सनत्सुजात प्रभिरेतनल्पं जत्रूपदेशे चिबुकं निधाय let me repeat. जत्रूपदेशे चिबुकं निधाय व्यातात्म मुक्ता नकरौ निधाय जानूपरि प्रेक्षित नासिकान्तं विलोचने सामि निमील्यकान्तं. So this shloka 34 actually is also a reference to Bhagavad Gita chapter 6, which is Dhyana Yoga. So over there also Bhagavan Sri Krishna talks about how to do meditation. So that's the technique which is also being repeated over here by Bhagavad Pada, where he controls his breath, sits upright, and concentrates first with his first the eyes over the tip of the nose, and then he does the pranayama and then closes his eyes, and then he gets into samadhi. आसीनमुच्चिकृत पूर्वगात्रं सिद्धासनं शोषित बोधमात्रं चिन्मात्र विन्यस्त हृषीकवर्ग समाधि विस्मारित विश्वसर्गम. Just a bit below, if you could go there. Yes, so we will be coming into this section, so let's go into the English portion now, the English document. Then by mutual consultation, they fixed a date and a secret meeting for the Kapalika to perform his nefarious deed. Satisfied immensely, the Kapalika went home. The Acharya continued to stay at his ashrama without revealing to anyone what had transpired between him and the Kapalika. On the appointed day, the Kapalika arrived at the place in his ceremonial dress, armed with a trident. The shloka we read right before. Tripundri, Trishuli, those are the references. Armed with a trident, wearing a prominent three-pronged mark on the forehead, with eyes red and rolling under the effects of liquor, wearing garlands of bones all over his body, and glancing all around to see whether anyone was noticing him. The fierce Kapalika stood there in readiness to execute his murderous mission at a time when all his disciples had gone for their ablutions. The Acharya withdrew from his ashrama to the appointed solitary spot so that Sanandana is Padmapada Acharya, the first Śaṅkarācārya of the Puri Peeth, the Govardhana Puri Peeth in Orissa. So that Sanandana and other disciples might not get any inkling of what was taking place. Seeing the king Kapalika in readiness, Acharya prepared himself to give up his body. Uttering the holy syllable Pranava, he withdrew the senses into the mind and the mind into the spirit. With his neck and backbone steady, his palms lying supine on the knees, his face calm, his eyes half opened and fixed as if it were on the nose tip, he sat there in the blissful state of Nirvikalpaka Samadhi, like the sage Sanat Sujata. All his external senses were withdrawn and merged in pure consciousness. Finding that his opportune moment had come, the Kapalika approached the Acharya with his sword. uplifted to chop off his head when the whole plot that was developing suddenly flashed on the mind of the disciple Padmapada, otherwise known as Sanandana. So the name Padmapada, for the audience's help, the name Padmapada came because of the fact of his intense Guru Bhakti. When in Kashi, Bhagavan Śaṅkarācārya called him by uttering his name, without caring, he was at the other side of the bank of Ganga. He started to walk over Ganga, even started to run. Seeing the fact that happened, suddenly it was seen that wherever he was keeping his feet, there was a Padma or lotus blooming down. Because of that miraculous incident, he was famous within the disciple circles, and Bhagavan himself also named him as Padmapada, the one under whose feet Padma or lotus bloomed. So, yeah, seeing on the screen of his heart the picture of the Kapalika approaching the Acharya with uplifted sword and trident, the whole personality of the devoted disciple flared up like a burning mass of fire. This actually happens in many instances, that when someone whom you respect or you love very much, like your parents, your family relatives, even your gurus or teachers, suddenly if they fall into some sort of detriment, suddenly it comes up in people's hearts. It's very unusual, which we do not know what's the reason behind it, but it happens. Same did happen with Padmapadacharya as well, that while he was busy working, suddenly it flashed in his mind. Given he was also a sadhaka and a punyatma, it was also very apparent to him what was going to happen, and that really struck him a lot. Padmapada had attained Siddhi in the mantra of Narasimha, the man-lion incarnation of the Lord, who was attracted by Prahlada's devotion and who always removes the suffering of people that surrendered to him. Now, for the audience's experience, I would like to recite the shlokas which come over here, because this is the portion where one can see the genius of Swami Vidyaranya and his poetics. So, yeah, thank you so much. Neil. Trishulamudya nihantu kamam gurum yatatma samudaikshitāntah sitascha kopa jwalitagnikalpa sapadmapata sagurar hitaishi. That's what we read right now, audience. So from 39th, it is gonna be the famous Raudrasa shlokas. So here it goes. Yeah. Satachana Shubdha Nijasvabhava Pravriddharudha Vismritamartya Bhava Avishkritatyugra Nrisimha Bhava Samutpapata Tulita Prabhava Satachata Spotita Mega Sanghas Satachata Spotita Mega Sanghas Strivara Vatrasita Bhuta Sangha Samvega Sammurchita Loka Sangha Kimetaditya Deva Sangha Kshubhyat Samudram Samurur Raudram Ratannishatan Sputadadrikotam Jaladdishantam Prachaladharantam Prabhrashyadaksham Daladantariksham Javadabhidrutya Shivas Tarugrair Datteshwaresaiva Purana Kshipatrishoolasya Satasya Vaksho Dadara Vikshipta Murari Pakshah Tatta Drigatyugra Nakha Yudhagro Damshtrantara Prota Duriha Deha Ninyetadanim Niharir Vidirna Dupattanattalikavatahasam Akaranayanstam Ninadam Bahirgata Upagaman Nakula Chittavrittayah Vyalokayan Bhairava Mritam Tato Vimuktam Jagurum Sukhoshitam. Now, we will be reading the portions in English as to what happened actually in the action. So anyone who has seen the movie Kantara, just a digression, they will get the emotion over here as well. The consciousness of Narasimha took possession of him, Padmapadacharya, and he became the Narasimha himself for the time being. His human consciousness was gone, and he became an embodiment of the ferocity. In that mood, he leaped into the sky, driving away the clouds by the slash of his manes, filling all beings with fear by his thunderous roars, and stunning all, including the gods, with the vigor and speed of his movement. As the whole of nature got agitated and the worlds trembled in consternation at this manifestation of divine power as ferocity, Padmapada caught hold of the Kapalika while he was aiming his trident at the Acharya's head and tore open his chest with his nails as the Narasimha did to Hiranya. The body that was thus opened with the nails he lifted up with his projecting molars, Damshtra, and roared again and again, spreading terror in the neighborhood. Alarmed by the sound and commotions, the disciples who had gone away for their ablutions, hurried back to the ashrama, saw the Acharya in Samadhi and the corpse of the Kapalika lying nearby. Now, from 45 to 58, there is a great instance over here. So, just for the sake of understanding of the audience, so Narasimha Bhagavan actually over in this portion will come out of Padmapadacharya. So, Padmapadacharya is by now released from the Avesha Avataram. The Avesham thing, which is why I referred to the Kantara movie thing, because that's where also we see that thing happening as well, the cinematic representation. So over here we see the disciples now asked Padmapadacharya in great astonishment how Lord Narasimha happened to be gracious to him and do this great deed through him. Sanandana replied to them, smiling, "In my early days, I performed austerities for a very long time in the holy forest on the top of the mountain Bala." So over here, actually the reference is towards Ahobalam. So Ahobalam is, I think, in Andhra Pradesh, if I'm not wrong. So Ahobalam is a great tirtha for Nrisimha Upashakas. There is a very famous Nrisimha temple as well over there. And it's in a forest, very thick forest in a mountain. So that's where he's mentioning. So Padmapadacharya was doing his sadhana in that Ahobalam forest. Top of the mountain Bala, in order to propitiate Lord Narasimha, who always responds to the wholehearted devotion of votaries. On many a day, a hunter, Nishada, who used to pass by, was in the habit of asking me, "O Yogin, why are you staying alone in this mountain cave?" One day I answered him, saying, "O hunter, I am in quest of that wonderful being who has a human body up to the neck and a lion's face above. He abides in this forest, but I have not yet been able to meet him." This was actually a jest which Padmapadacharya did because he was constantly being asked about it every day. In fact, the commentator says in Advaita Dundubi commentary to this text that the hunter was actually Padmapadacharya gave him a task, in fact, with this, that okay, so there is this animal which has the human body below and the head of a lion, so try finding him out. It was done as a joke actually. When I had said this much, the hunter went into the forest and not long after returned with the Nrisimha, man lion, tied with creepers. Yeah, just a bit below. With a heart-filled astonishment, I asked that divine being, even rishis find it difficult to attain to you. How could this hunter then get at you so quickly? That divine being said, even rishis are not able to concentrate so wholeheartedly on me like this hunter. Even you are not able to do so. So audience, here is a teaching for everyone that concentration helps, concentration especially on Devata, Upasana, is graced by Devata on anybody, regardless of their status, regardless of their education as well. So this is also a teaching which comes from here. That the hunter was able to get Narasimha Bhagavan, whereas Padmapadacharya and many rishis could not even have a glance of him. For so many years they had done sadhana, yet they were unable to do so. But this hunter could do it in a couple of days. That's the difference. So saying, he disappeared, blessing me. While these co-disciples of his stood astonished at these words of his, the luminous Nrisimha began to roar once again, deafening the quarters. Shankara now came out of his samadhi, opened his eyes, and saw standing before him this fierce Nrisimha form. His manes of wild growth were white like the moon, while his fierce eyes glowed below his forehead like the sun. He was luminous like a galaxy of suns, and his thunderous roars filled the quarters. His body was smeared with the blood of the Kapalika, whose chest he had torn with his nails. On his chest was the Srivatsa mark, and on his neck the Kaustava gem, along with the entrails or the intestines of the slain foe. All the worlds were trembling at the sight of him at the flames, and at the flames of fire issuing out of his mouth like several tongues licking the skies. From the pores of his skin, sparks of fire were flying out everywhere. His face with teeth grimly pressed evoked awe even in the minds of Brahma and Shiva, who called out to him in fear, O Lord, be pacified, unleash not the deluge prematurely. It was as if the whole seventh sarga, the seventh skandha Leela, which is found in Srimad Bhagavatam, was repeating yet again. But it was right now at Sri Shailam that it was happening. So by here we are coming to the end of the chapter. So this is the portion where there is stuti by Bhagavad Pada himself to Nrisimha Avatara. So there is now this question, right? So supposedly Bhagavan Shankara was an Advaitin, so how could it be that he was worshipping a Devata and so on and so forth? Advaita Siddhanta does not negate Devata first and foremost. Neither does it negate forms at all. In fact, what it does, it actually unifies everything. It verily makes it clear that Saguna Brahman and Nirguna Brahman are one and same, and Brahman alone there is as the supreme reality. Everything else is just a manifestation out of the Shakti of Brahma, which is called Maya. So, because of that, we see various set of forms which are supposed to be helping us in getting conditioned to Bhagavan and to worship him more and more and to change our attitudes as well. So even here, since Bhagavan Bhashyakara, that's the another name for Bhagavad Pada Śaṅkarācārya. So Bhagavan Bhashyakara, who was a Advaiti Bhakti, that's what he used to do. So in that, he did not see so-called difference with Bhagavan at all. And in fact, because of this, he had more rasa in his bhakti, after, which comes from this realization that I am Brahman. So because of that, he also had repeated what Prahlada Maharaj had also done, which was Prahlada Maharaj alone could pacify Narasimha Bhagavan, and he too had this same Advaita Bhakti as well. As we all know, if one reads the 7th skandha of Srimad Bhagavatam. So over here, at first, Acharya says, O Lord, abandon thy ferocious anger for the good of the worlds. The enemy has already perished. Be now gracious so that the worlds may be free from the fear generated by thy terrific eyes. Anger is not suited to thee who are famous for this Sattvika nature, for thy Sattvika nature. How is it that Hari has assumed Hara's quality of tamas, of which anger is a manifestation? By adoring thee, man overcomes all fears and enjoys felicity. How much more will be the benefits that accrue from this direct vision of yet death will surely be liberated. For this man who has met with deaths at thy hands, there is no more involvement in the cycle of births and deaths. When the much persecuted Prahlada declared that thou art everywhere, and his father Hiranyakashipu challenged this statement, thou, as if to validate the statement of the devotee, did manifest thyself from the pillar and bestow thy grace on him. At the time of creation, thou assumed the quality of rajas for the preservation of it. Thou takest up the bow, thou though thou art full of sattva for the destruction of it, thou assumest tamas as hara. Thou hast really no birth and no assumption of gunas. All thy manifestations are meant for the blessings of the world. Thy state is beyond words and thought. Say the Shrutis with trepidation. O Narasimha, at the very mention of thy name, evil spirits flee. None of demoniacal nature can approach thee. Thou art the source of creation, preservation, and destruction. Thou art the cause of all. Thou shinest in all pure hearts. I seek shelter in thee, who art of the nature of pure consciousness. This evil one is dead. Be gracious to withdraw this terrible form of thine, which is striking terror into the hearts of all. May thy roars, which defeat even the sound, produced when the worlds are destroyed from the fire emanating from the third eye of Shiva, generate that fire of knowledge which destroys the miseries of beings enfolded in the womb of worldly existence. So over here there is a very famous stuti. It's called the Sinhanada Stuti, which is done only on the roar of Narasimha Bhagavan by Śaṅkarācārya. So if you can go to the Sanskrit portion. Yeah, so just a bit. So I will tell you when to stop. Yeah. Go below. Yeah. Yes. Just yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, great. So this is the very famous Sinhanada Stuti, which is done by Śaṅkarācārya Bhagavad-pada. Again, a divine experience if one hears this. Kalpantodrimbhamana pramatha parivritta praudhalālāta vahni jala triloki janita chata dhikkara dhuryaha madhe brahmanda bhandodara kuhara manaikanta dustham avastham sthanasthyano mamayam dalayatu duritam Shri Narasimhattahāsaha madhe vyanadhavatam dhayavalanaadha मध्ये व्यानद्धवातं दयवलनाथमन्थानभूभृन् मन्थे नोक्षिप्तदुग्धो दधिलहरी मिथस्फालनाचारघोरः kalpanton nidrudrut chatara marukadadhana baddhabhyasuyo ghoshoyam karna ghora kshapayatu nihare ramhasam samhatirnaha క్షుందానో మంక్షుకల్ప వది సమయ సముజంభ దంభోధగుంభ స్ఫుర్జద్దంభోలి సంఘ స్ఫురదురుర టితా ఖర్వగర్వ ప్రరోహాన్ క్రీడా క్రోడేంద్ర ఘోణ సరభస విసరద్ధోర గుర్ఘోరవశ్రీర్ గంభీరస్తే అట్టహాసో హర హర నృహరే రంహసా హాంసి హన్యాత్. So this is the divine shloka or the stuti, the Simhanada stuti by Śaṅkarācārya, and his poetics are of supreme nature, as we saw, and I was unable to read it in clear method, so forgive me for this inconvenience. So why was I reading this today? This sarga is actually the only sarga in Madhavya Shankara Digvijaya which Vidyarana Swami says that if one reads this daily, Trisandhya, he gets benefits out of it. There is a Phalashruti in this sarga. That's the last shloka as we see over here. Charitrametat prayatas Trisandhyam bhaktya patedya shrunuyadavandhyam tirtvapamrityum pratipadya bhaktim sabhukta bhoga samupaiti muktim. That reading this for 3 times a day, the 3 sandhya times, with bhakti, also if someone listens to it, just doing these 2 things will get him bhakti of utmost, and he will also get all of the benefits that one needs to have in their life, and also get mukti as well, just by reading this sarga itself. Iti Shri Madhaviye Tadugra Bhairava Nirjayah Sangshepa Shankara Jaya Sarga Ekadasho Bhavat. This here ends the great sarga, the 11th sarga, the heart of Shankara Digvijayam. Thank you, audience. Thank you so much. Any questions or any deliberations? Neither.
No, no questions as such. You can give your ending statement.
Yeah, so this is a very important portion in Shankara Digvijaya, which talks about the first, especially the first line of this sarga, which starts with, it actually is a teaching which we must always remember, especially in our daily lives, that one must be careful of people, because many of them come to us with so-called pure garbs and very sweet talk, but indeed they might have very evil intentions beneath them, which they are hiding. So that's a teaching we get from this sarga itself, in the first place. After that, we also get a teaching of vairagya, which one has, and how this vairagya also helps us in making decisions, especially on doing things based on goods of other people. And also we get the lessons of bhakti as well, what bhakti does and what devata upasana leads to, and what shakti one possesses just by doing this bhakti and devata upasana intensely, and how devatas, even in their wrath, always get pacified by the purest of devotees and their requests. That's how devatas only react to. They only react to only pure devotion, nothing else. They need nothing. What they only require is unconditional devotion without any motives and pure concentration. That's it. These are the lessons which I think the audience should try to take in their life. And also, if they are able to, please read the English translation or any of the regional languages translation of this sarga itself, because Bhagavan Shankaracharya's Leela is always so delightful to read anyways, but this specific sarga has been recommended by Swami Vidyaranya himself, the great Vidyaranya, who was, after all, the fountainhead of the Vijayanagara Empire as well, and one of the celebrated ministers of that empire too. His recommendation, I think we as Hindus should keep in our head always. Thank you so much. And if there is any question, if there are any questions on comments, comment sections, then maybe we can take them. Are there any? I think. Oh, okay. Okay then. Okay.
Yeah, I don't see
Okay.
any comments on this.
Fine enough then. So with this, then we end this small session today. I tried my best, but I could not succeed. I know there were some failures, so that's on my part. Forgive me if there are any inconveniences. They were all unintended. Next time, maybe
it was as good as it
maybe
could
I
be.
will.
It was as good as it could be. As far as a viewer, I could not see any mistakes.
Fine enough. Fine enough. Compliments are always helpful, and also critiques as well. So please tell us more what we could change, and next time we will progress more and more. Thank you so much, audience. Thank you, Nenal, for joining.
Thank you to the
this
audience.
Session. Thank you to the audience as well.
Yes.
Good night to every one of you. Jai Jai Shankar, Har Har Shankar.
Har Har Shankar.